Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into the road to recovery from addiction, specifically alcoholism.
Right.
And we're pulling from sources that really center on treatment models developed up in Northern California. Our mission here is to get past the basics of just sobriety
Mhm.
and really examine this core idea that recovery isn't just about stopping. It's about fundamentally reclaiming your self-worth.
It's a point that gets missed so often, but it really is the bedrock of any sustainable healing.
Yeah.
If you look at the sources, they show that addiction, it's like this slow erosion, a steady drip that just eats away at a person's confidence, their purpose, and even their belief that they deserve a full life.
And if that foundation isn't fixed, then sobriety is it's built on sand.
It is. It's completely unstable.
Exactly. So the real challenge for professional centers, like New Life Recovery Centers in San Jose, is how to systematically help someone move past that intense internal feeling of being unworthy,
Unworthy of love, of forgiveness.
of success even. We're going to explore the structure and, the actual tools they use to make that happen. Okay, let's unpack this. If the focus is on healing this deep emotional pain, we have to start with where the pain comes from and how it shows up.
And that's where the sources offer a really critical reframing. We tend to think addiction starts with, I don't know, poor judgment or just wanting to get high.
Right, a moral failing.
Exactly. But the material emphasizes a totally different truth. Addiction rarely begins with intent. It almost always begins with pain.
There's a coping mechanism.
It's a misguided attempt at emotional management, a reaction to discomfort or loneliness or trauma. It's not a plan for self-destruction.
And that search for temporary relief is what traps someone in what the sources call the vicious cycle of addiction. It's this repetitive, self-punishing loop.
And it's driven by shame.
Can you walk us through the steps of that cycle?
Sure, it starts with a period of abstinence. And this is a genuine, often hopeful effort, a sincere attempt to stop.
Step one.
Step one. Then step two is when triggers appear. This could be anything: stress from work, loneliness, even just a painful memory.
And that leads to step three, the tempting thoughts.
Right, where the brain, just seeking relief, convinces the person that alcohol or drugs are the only way to escape that discomfort, just for a little while.
Which leads to the actual substance use. But it's what happens after that really hammers the self-worth.
Precisely. Step four is the crash. It's this overwhelming, intense guilt and just a crushing sense of failure.
It's not just regret.
Oh no, it's that internal voice screaming that you have no control, that you're fundamentally flawed. Then comes step five, which is penance. This isn't just saying, I'll stop.
It's more than that.
It's frantic overcorrection, extreme self-denial, unrealistic promises, all these attempts to sort of earn back their own self-respect.
Which ironically just creates this intense pressure that becomes the next trigger.
And launches them right back to step six, a fragile return to abstinence, and the cycle just starts all over again. With every single repetition, the shame gets deeper.
So willpower alone can't fix it.
The sources are definitive on this. It's impossible. Willpower doesn't heal shame. You need professional guidance that can turn that self-punishment into self-forgiveness.
This brings us right to the kind of environment you need to heal those wounds. The courses talk a lot about the Northern California recovery mindset, especially around San Jose and Silicon Valley.
It's a powerful concept. I mean, we think of the region for tech and innovation, but think about the natural setting.
The redwoods, the coast.
Exactly. The sheer scale of the redwood forests, the ruggedness of the Pacific coastline. It's the perfect psychological backdrop.
How so?
Well, the sources suggest that the magnitude of those landscapes helps counter the intense isolation of addiction. It reminds you that you're part of something vast and strong and durable.
So the setting itself symbolizes hope, a new beginning.
It does. And that external environment is mirrored by the internal philosophy at a place like NLRC.
We keep using that word holistic. But what does it actually mean in practice, beyond just, mind, body, and spirit?
It means that every single part of the treatment is integrated. The mind part is the intense therapy, the trauma work. The spirit is about rebuilding purpose, connection, maybe through mindfulness.
And the body?
The body is the professional medical care, proper nutrition, exercise. But they aren't treated like a checklist. They're seen as equally vital parts of a whole person who needs to heal.
The sources describe the culture there as one of encouragement, a place where you can grow without that fear of judgment.
You have to have that psychological safety. You have to. Confidence grows from celebrating small victories. The victory of just showing up to group. The victory of staying present for 5 minutes in meditation.
You can only take those risks if you know a misstep won't bring you crashing down.
Exactly.
Okay, so if pain is the origin, You need a structure that takes that pain apart piece by piece without overwhelming the person. This is where that idea of a full continuum of care is so important.
That progression is everything. Recovery isn't a light switch, it's a ladder. And you need different support at different rungs.
Let's break down that ladder then,
Yeah.
starting with the most immediate need.
Safety. Stage 1 has to be alcohol and drug detox. This is a safe, medically supervised environment. We're talking 24-hour therapeutic and medical support.
So the goal is just stabilization.
The goal is safe withdrawal, stabilizing the client physically and emotionally so they're even ready for the deep work to come.
Once they're stable, they move into stage 2, inpatient residential treatment. This is the heart of that holistic idea, right?
It is. Residential treatment is where that deep integration happens. You have structured medical care combined with intensive one-on-one counseling, mindfulness practices like yoga, meditation, and just constant emotional support.
You're completely immersed in healing.
Totally immersed, away
Well,
from all the old triggers.
And then, as they get stronger, they start moving back toward the real world. That's stage 3, the PHP day treatment, partial hospitalization program.
The PHP is the bridge. It's essential. Clients still get comprehensive, full-day care therapy, clinical oversight, but they might be living in a sober living home, practicing their new skills in the community.
So it's about rebuilding practical confidence.
Testing those new coping skills against real-world stress, but with a safety net.
And for that long-term sustainable support, there's stage 4, the Superflex IOP intensive outpatient program.
Right, and this is where the structure acknowledges that life happens. It's called Superflex for a reason. It's designed to bend around your life.
So you're back at work or with family.
You're back at work, managing responsibilities, and the IOP offers these crucial evening or weekend therapy sessions. It's about ongoing reflection, life skills, nutrition, everything you need for the long haul.
And we should also mention the other programs that support the whole network. The family program, the alumni program, even practical help with their court liaison services.
It's a whole ecosystem of support.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We have the structure, but how do the counselors and clinicians actually do it? How do they perform that transformation and rebuild self-worth?
The transformation comes from using evidence-based therapies that are designed to literally rewrite core beliefs. The counselors help clients get to the source of that low self-worth. The trauma, the self-criticism, the unhealthy relationships.
The sources specifically point to 2 therapies over and over: cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and motivational interviewing, MI. For someone who's not a clinician, what do these actually do?
Okay, so with CBT, you're directly targeting those negative thought patterns we talked about in the vicious cycle.
The inner critic.
The inner critic, exactly. CBT helps you realize that the voice calling you a failure isn't a fact. It's a distorted thought, and you learn how to challenge it and restructure that internal story.
So you're taking back control of your own internal monologue.
Precisely. And then you have motivational interviewing, or MI. This is a bit different. It's a technique that helps clients find their own reasons to change.
Instead of being told what to do.
Yes. It helps them articulate their own intrinsic motivation. It validates their autonomy and reinforces this idea that the power to change is already inside them, which is a massive boost for fragile self-worth.
The other cornerstone you mentioned is mindfulness. We hear about meditation and yoga, but what's the direct link between those practices and building resilience?
Well, when you're in active addiction, you're either living in the guilt of the past or the anxiety of the future.
Never in the now.
Never. Mindfulness meditation, breathing techniques, it teaches you the crucial skill of living in the present moment, but without judgment. It's an emotional regulation tool. If you can just observe a stressful thought without automatically reacting to it,
You starve the trigger.
you starve the trigger of the vicious cycle.
I love the language the sources used here. They said mindfulness helps you replace "I can't" with "I'm learning."
That tiny shift in language is profound. It reframes a mistake as just a data point, not a moral failure. That active self-compassion directly builds the feeling that you are capable. You're resilient.
And resilience is something you can learn.
It's a dynamic process, the ability to adapt in the face of adversity. It is absolutely a skill you can acquire at any time.
That process, though, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. The sources are so clear that community and connection are, like, non-negotiable.
Recovery is a relational process. It has to be. Group therapy, alumni events. These are the places where you practice healthy communication and vulnerability.
And you rediscover your value.
Not by being treated, but by contributing. through service, through shared purpose.
And that connection has to extend to the family, right? The guilt over damaged relationships can be just overwhelming.
Absolutely, which is why the family program is so critical. It helps loved ones understand that addiction is a disease, not a moral failing, and it teaches them how to support recovery without enabling.
Rebuilding trust.
Rebuilding trust starts with being honest with yourself, and then you can extend that outward to repair those essential bonds.
So once that foundation of self-worth is solid, what's the ultimate goal? Sobriety is the beginning, but not the end.
Sobriety is just the permission slip to start living again. The ultimate goal, the thing that anchors long-term health, is finding purpose beyond the substance.
Filling that void with meaning.
Yes. Once your identity is reclaimed, you're encouraged to explore new things, education, a new career, creative passions. That purpose becomes the new, positive, daily motivation.
It's the full reclamation of your identity and your dignity.
That's the goal.
So what does this all mean? Our deep dive today, it confirms that seeking professional treatment, like the individualized, accredited care at New Life Recovery Centers in San Jose, isn't a sign of weakness.
It's the exact opposite.
It is unequivocally an act of tremendous courage.
It's choosing to invest in that full spectrum of care, from the medical safety of detox and the depth work of the residential phase, to the real-world practice in PHP and the long-term support of the Superflex IOP. They have the experience. They are celebrating 21 years in 2025.
And for you, listening right now, if any of this has hit home, for you or for someone you love, that first step is confidential, it's safe, and it's necessary. New Life Recovery Centers works with most major insurance, PPO plans, EAP programs, and unions to make getting this care as accessible as possible. If you're ready to begin the path to recovery, or even if you just need a confidential consultation to understand your options, please reach out. Call 408-297-1182 today for a free confidential consultation today.
You know, building on that idea of self-worth, think about the internal language you use every day. We saw how shifting from self-punishment to self-forgiveness is this huge catalyst in recovery. But that principle goes way beyond addiction.
To everything.
To everything. What small conscious shift in your inner monologue, reframing a stressor from "I failed" to "I learned," could reinforce your own fundamental self-worth? And how might that one tiny shift change how you approach every other challenge you face? That dynamic power of language, it's really something to mull over.